Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be the transformation from my Valkyrie being clan boss centered to switching her build to an arena centric build. I'll go over the thought process in that while showing you the stats involved and the masteries, while then showing some of the battle examples of the build. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so here is the Valkyrie that I have gotten built to use in some tag team arena situations to go ahead and have in my repertoire for defense and offense in that regard. Now, I used Valkyrie a long time as a clan boss, a double counterattack. I was getting like 2 or 3 keying on Ultra Nightmare with like a Martyr Valkyrie composition, double counterattack. And this is actually the second time that I recorded this video. I sent it out and realized, wait a minute, I don't like those masteries. And since masteries are such an important part of the build, I wanted to go ahead and delete that and then re-record this and fix the masteries to something that I prefer a little bit more than what it was. So this is actually take 2 of recording this video. But the reason with Valkyrie that it's kind of 2 very distinct builds is because of her turn meter reduction on both her A1 and on her passive. So when we're in a clan boss situation, obviously we can't manipulate the turn meter of the clan boss, so that is worthless. So you'll see a lot of clan boss Valkyries just basically go 0 accuracy. If you're not going to be using her in other situations, you don't really need a whole lot of accuracy, but it is nice to get those procs, especially in the arena. So that's why you'll see different play styles with the Valkyrie and why I wanted to switch my build. And then obviously, also in the clan boss, you're going to have lower speeds typically than the endgame arena. You might be at 170, 190, whatever your speed tune is. Not always. There are some high speed compositions that can slide into the arena and do some damage, but my counterattack composition was a pretty low speed one, so it made my Valkyrie not very viable for the arena because of the low speed and the low accuracy. And I suppose I could do a quick refresher course, on her kit while we're talking about it. But the A1's a multi-hitter that decreases turn meter as long as the target has any buffs, but obviously it doesn't work on a boss like the clan boss. Then she's mostly known for the A2. It's one of the most insane abilities in Raid. It's an AoE attack that places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns and a counterattack for 2 turns. And then if you can scale her defense to be very high, you get an insane amount of shield from that, and you can book it to a 3-turn cooldown. Then this is the passive right here. Chippy's turn meter will be increased by 10% each time an enemy places a buff. Now that part of it does not need accuracy. That will still work. The enemy champions will have their turn meter decreased by 10% for each buff they receive, and that part you do need accuracy to beat their resistance and get that turn meter reduction to actually occur. And side note, Valkyrie never had an aura, but when Plarium added faction crypts to the game, they went ahead and gave Valkyrie a defense and faction crypts aura, so that was added to the game with faction crypts. But yeah, that's just kind of the reasoning behind why the 2 different playstyles and why I wanted to switch and try her out in the arena to have some success against some of those people that place a bunch of buffs. And then also it enables me to bring damage dealers with her cranking up that shield. And if I pair that with the new masteries here that I will show you, so the way I've got her set up is to be a utility tank and just bring a bunch of survival to my team with the shielding. And then I'm coupling the Bulwark with, a lot of times, Duchess and No-Rog. They both have super tanky passives, reducing damage. And then I have Bulwark also soaking up damage. So what that does is I've got 3 champions, and then I can bring a flex spot as that 4th. I can bring someone like a Foley to block revive. I can bring someone like a Skull Crown because with counterattack, she's going to do a bunch of damage with those constant A1s flowing out at everybody that attacks her, the A1 AoE. So it enables me to use that trio of Duchess, No-Rog, and Valkyrie, where they all are bringing damage mitigation, where they soak up enemy heat. And I can bring a damage dealer, a Foley, or somebody who's tough to keep alive. Foley's a good candidate in a lot of situations because he blocks revive. So over the course of a long fight, a more defensive style fight, when you get into those 2nd and 3rd best teams in Tag Team Arena, you've got like usually your best team that's really good, and then you might have another team that's really good, but then that 3rd one, you're going to have to do some cute things and do some fun, different things to patch a 3rd team together and make that work with some champions that are outside of your normal play style in the arena. And if you want to see what I'm talking about that really quick, you've got the Duchess here, and you've got a passive that is going to decrease damage taken by all allies from AoE attacks by 25%. So in the arena, that is a huge damage mitigation because AoE damage is very common in the arena. And then you've also got No-Rog with a passive that's going to decrease damage taken by all allies that are under 1 or more buffs by 15%. And if it's like the other team goes first and you don't have any buffs yet, you're going to decrease damage by 25%. You couple that with Duchess, and it makes things extremely tough to kill. Then you add on Valkyrie with the Bulwark, soaking up another 5%, and that fourth person that you're bringing is going to have a lot of toughness, and it's going to be tough to kill. And even if they do chew through all of that and kill them, you've got the Duchess with the revives, and then you get a super sturdy team. That trio is going to work really well in terms of being very tough to get down with the No-Rog, Duchess, and Valkyrie. So that was my thinking when switching the Valkyrie to that build, and it's been a lot of fun to mess around with in Tag Team Arena by slotting in different champions in that fourth spot to go along with that trio. But let's go back to Valkyrie, and I haven't showed you the total stats yet. Sorry about that. Let me pull this up just in case you're curious about comparing to your Valkyrie. So you want to stack a lot of defense. The closer you can get this to 7,000, the better, because that's going to be an insane amount of shielding coming out from her, and then it'll also help her damage as well because it scales with defense. And then whatever HP you can get besides that, obviously we don't want attack at all, so completely ignore that. You want as much defense as you can get, and then whatever HP you can get after prioritizing defense. Now, I went with 230 something speed, which is actually pretty decent because I went with defense percent boots to try and get that defense as high as possible. Then the crit rate and crit damage are just a bonus. I didn't build her as a damage dealer with this. Like I said, she's more of a damage soak utility support type champion. And then the resistance of 180 and the accuracy of 353 to make sure we have a good chance at landing some of those turn meter reduction effects on her A1 and her passive. So if you want to see the gear, this is the banner. This is a pretty solid one. Ideally, it would get like a double roll of defense or something. But yeah, you're getting everything you're looking for. HP, defense, accuracy, and speed. On the amulet, we're going with defense. I would like to have one that double or triple rolled accuracy. That would be a spot to improve on for her gear. The ring is very solid. It's got over 20% defense with the base 6-star defense roll on it, and it doesn't have any attack or anything in terms of attack percent. So pretty solid ring there on her. And then the boots, like I said, these were really these were good perception boots that I was looking for a use for a long time. Obviously, it's a little bit hard to get use out of stat boots in the arena. It takes a pretty special situation typically, and this was one where I thought, okay, this is somebody who needs the speed and needs the accuracy, so the perception set's going to be good in this build. There's 6-star defense that hit double speed, and it doesn't have attack or anything, so perfect candidate to go on the Valkyrie for this build, and I was able to make use of those perception boots. So one of those rare times where all 3 pieces on the bottom, we can get the main stat. We've got defense, 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 and then our best blend of speed, accuracy, and HP to go. But if you want to see those, I will show you there. Top ones are a little bit more simple, but you're looking for the same stuff. Defense, HP, speed, accuracy. There is those if you wanted to see. And then one thing I do want to take note of on the gearing of this build was I wanted to get a weapon that had a lot of HP on it, because with Valkyrie, I'm stacking a ton of defense. So that's a spot where I can't get defense. In case you're newer to Raid or newer to my channel, weapons cannot get any defense, not the percent or the flat stat. And then shields cannot get any attack, neither percent or flat stat. So since I can't get defense on this one piece right here, I wanted to use that as an opportunity to get a bunch of HP, because sometimes on a champion that you're laser focused on getting a bunch of one stat, it can be really easy to forget, like, ooh, my HP is only like 40,000 now. So that's why I wanted to get as much HP on the weapon as I could and at least get that up to approaching 50k. But now that we talked about the thought process on this build here for the Valkyrie, let me go ahead and pull up some of the footage so you can actually see it in action here. All right, so this is a fight where I was using the Foley to round out the composition, and then I'll use some different things, but I made sure to use Duchess and Valkyrie each time as kind of the staple of the team, and I like the No-Rog just with how he pairs with Duchess to really double dip on some of those damage mitigation effects. But yeah, it works super well with Foley because they can help keep him alive. You see how low the Foley was there? He would have definitely been dead without those damage mitigation effects from the trio there built around him. You can do other things like bring somebody with a high HP, Harvest Jack, Mountain King, and give them a shield set to help keep some of your utility alive. They do end up getting the Foley eventually. He just couldn't quite soak it all up, but we've got the Duchess there for the clutch revive, bringing Foley back, and he's able to start cranking out the damage again. And this is one of those defensive teams where it's going to be kind of a slow squeeze. It's not going to be for like easy casual speed farming in classic arena. This was more trying to round out my options available to me in the tag team arena. So now we've got another speed team. You can see here I went with Sir Nick. So this team's going to be very tough to kill. Sir Nick scales with HP, so he's going to be tough just inherently. And then you've got the trio around him giving shield and damage mitigation and revives. So this is one of those teams that's going to be really, really tough to get them all down. And they can get kills, that's fine, because Duchess is bringing the revive. So even if they chew through everything, including the VALK shields, we're going to go ahead and be able to pick them back up. And then the counterattacks are super handy. You love to see the Valkyrie getting a ton of value out of those constant counterattacks, but it does make for some slow fights sometimes with all the added animations of the constant counterattacks. And then if you got people like Norog, he's got some CC on his A1. So those counterattacks can block cooldown skills. Sir Nick has got freeze on his A1 that he doesn't even need accuracy for. So Sir Nick, another candidate to work pretty decent. Norog as well with the Valkyrie. Now here you'll see I switch it up a little bit. This is a really, really tough fight. Lydia, Siffy Rodos, and Chris. So got to pull out all the stops here. I wanted to stick with the theme of the Valkyrie pairing with the Duchess, and then obviously had to slot in a pretty decently built Saris to be able to strip buffs. And then Mountain King is a super sturdy damage dealer that can bring the shield to make it tough for the Rodos to chew through on those first initial fights until I can get the Valkyrie up and rolling with some of those shields that she places. But this is gonna be one of those extremely tough fights that you would see in like Gold 4, a team you would probably avoid, but I wanted to see what I could do here against a really solid team on mostly full auto. I think I step in when I get a kill. I think I step in and manual for a little bit to make sure my Duchess doesn't proc the Lydia's passive on blocking revive. But there you can see the Valkyrie almost getting chewed down by the Rodos, and look at Rodos just with the relentless set taking like 5 turns. And then you saw the Lydia blocking the revive because I didn't step in yet. So then after that I was like, okay, let me step in and manual this here for a little bit. I like to do full auto so that I can see what teams are capable of and how they're functioning. I don't like to get in the habit of constantly having to manual the game because we already spend a lot of time playing Raid on a daily basis, as you all know. So I like to have easy fights when I can and leave it on auto, ideally. But I will step in a situation when it's like this. You can see here now I'm starting to think about manualing. And the Saris got the 3 fears there, so that was super handy. Now I see the Duchess. Okay, has one turn cooldown. I need to go ahead and burst down the Lydia. Once I do, the fight will be over. But the Rodos was so close to dead. I was like, I'm gonna get him first, and then we'll make sure and shoot through the Lydia on manual, and then I can auto away. And I was like, really? So then I have to use the Mountain King, even though he's got a much harder hitting attack, and he's basically my only damage left. I had to use him to finish off the Rodos. And now I gotta sit here and make sure I'm using the Duchess to go after Lydia. Mountain King hits super hard, now I can flip on the auto and let it ride. But that was a really fun one to show, and a super tough fight with the Siffy Rodos and then the Lydia Chris going along with it. And now we're back at full strength. Now Lydia couldn't block. And there we go. That's kind of the gist of why I built the Valkyrie this way, and then some of the teams that I'm going to be using to try to synergize some value out of her in some of these arena fights now that I've switched her from a clan boss to an arena style. So I hope that provided a little bit of insight into the thought process of why I wanted to switch the Valkyrie's build, and what I was thinking during the gearing process, and then what I was thinking in terms of crafting a team of champions that I'm not currently using on my main set. I do use the Duchess sometimes, but like the Norog and stuff like that are champions that haven't been in my main arena roster, and I was trying to think of something fun to pair with this Valkyrie and this build in particular, of some things that I could try out, of diving into some of these tag team arena fights. So as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.